Hello and welcome. We're a little bit late, unfortunately, but we are now streaming. Hopefully, I think my computer just froze up a little bit. Okay, we are streaming MIS versus MAC today. The Group 1 match for the DelotA Amateur Tournament, and this match is actually particularly important because the winner of this match will more than likely will at least take a very, very, very good stand at getting into the semi-finals. So it's going to be a really, really interesting match. It's the first properly overly important match for getting into the semi-finals and finals. So we'll have to see how it goes. So there's a little bit of pressure on the line for the teams, which is always fun. And it's the first time I've streamed either of these teams playing. So this should be a very good game. Just waiting for the rest of the loaders now, and then I will flick over and we can watch the draft. In fact, I shall flick over now for you guys, because why not? So yeah, this is going to be an interesting one, to say the least. I haven't watched either of these teams play, so I am jumping into this one as blind as you guys. So this is going to be as interesting for me as it will. I would also like to. Oh, I hope he loads. He's connected. Is he going to load in time? 3. Yes, he will. Okay, the bands will begin. I'd also like to make a shout out to Misplace because he has been helping us quite often in the league, so it's really nice to see when team captains decide to participate, helping the league roll forward. It takes a little bit of pressure off our shoulders, which is always nice. So it's appreciated. Thank you very much. And the bands have begun. I'm not going to lie, I actually didn't know that MAC stood for Milf and Cookies. And I am exceedingly happy that I now know that information. That is a pretty amazing name. So first bans are as you would expect. The Batrider and the Magnus being banned out by MIS, leaving only a few good mid-heroes left like TA and Invoker, and MAC banning out the Undying and the Nyx Assassin. Undying obviously an extremely strong tri-lane hero with the most annoying skill in the world, Tombstone, and Nyx Assassin is obviously an exceedingly good ganker and just a general annoyance, especially as soon as he hits level 6. So MIS are going to be rocking it old school so far, picking up Darkseer as their first pick. I'll have to see what MAC do against that, but it looks like they're just locking out that exceedingly strong Darkseer. Obviously, his wall is exceptionally annoying and very, very good counter for heroes like Sven or maybe Void. So it's interesting to
5 seconds remaining.
to see what sort of tri-lane MIC want to put up against that Darkseer, because it's more than likely Darkseer will be on the off lane, completely on his own. And if they can lock him down, the more the better. So MIC obviously having to think about it. This is the first proper game in this tournament, so just taking their time over their first picks. They want to get it right. They don't want to let anything slip through, making sure they've covered all the bases.
Reserve time.
Windrunner at your service.
Okay, and they're going to pick up Jakiro Windrunner. Jakiro, probably the strongest tri-lane support hero in the game. Now that he had that massive, massive buff to Ice Path a few patches ago, and Windrunner obviously extremely strong on the off lane, completely on her own. She can mid at times, but it's not particularly wise for her to do so. So she's not a particularly strong mid hero. She's normally always played on the off lane, so I expect that's where she's going to be played today. MIS going along with the ordinary Shadow Demon, who is obviously an extremely strong tri-lane support in himself, and combos exceptionally well with Leshrac. So I expect to maybe see a Leshrac either picked up or banned very, very soon, so they can either lock out that combo now or MAC can take it away from them, because it is a ridiculously strong. There we go. Shadow Demon and Leshrac has actually been picked up straight away. So
Radiant team
this is
pick.
an extremely strong tri-lane combo. The disruption from Shadow Demon just holds them in place, while Leshrac can set up the split earth, and it can lead to quite a lot of problems, especially for a solo windrunner. If she gets caught slightly out of position, she can die extremely fast. So it'll be interesting to see what they actually decide to do with the Shadow Demon and Leshrac, because it is so
10
strong a
seconds
pair.
remaining.
They always do have the option of just putting the tri-lane on the off lane and
5
running it
seconds
against the
remaining.
tri-lane of MAC. We'll have to see whether they think that's worth doing once we see the second support hero come out of MAC, and it looks like it
Dire
might be
team
Rubik,
ban.
unless they decide to run him mid, which is still possible, but he's probably better now as a tri-lane support hero. The telekinesis is ridiculously strong at the beginning of the game, and obviously the Fade Bolt is a very powerful nuke. So it does look like the Rubik on the tri-lane will stop MIS putting the Shadow Demon and Leshrac
Radiant
on the
team
off lane,
ban.
only because that telekinesis can lock them down pretty heavily. So
Dire team ban.
moving on to the second ban stage, we are seeing Night Stalker as the ban for MIS, just locking out that strong mid, and the ganking opportunities. Obviously an extremely strong ganker. As soon as it hits 6 minutes, he's going to start roaming, he's going to start killing, and he's very, very good against weak heroes like Shadow Demon and Leshrac. And it seems like a good ban. So MAC deciding to ban out that Sven. We haven't actually seen a single Sven played in this tournament so far, but MAC obviously don't like him. He is the strongest carry in the game, I would say, at the moment. So
Radiant
it is a really, really
team
good ban. There's no reason not to ban him just because he isn't seeing play a lot in this tournament at the moment. Just ban the heroes that are strong, especially in your first game against an opponent that you've not played before, like MIS, but you don't know what sort of routes they're going to go. So MIS decided to ban out the Brewmaster, as they obviously don't like that big ulti. The ulti is obviously ridiculously strong, and without a very, very long silence, that's going to cause a lot of problems for you, because you need a lot of disables to kill Brewmaster. And it doesn't look like MIS want to put any more of their slots towards support heroes to try and silence down the Brewmaster. So that's a really, really good ban. And MIS getting rid of the Life Stealer, obviously one of the strongest carries in the game at the moment, especially for early game carry potential. He's probably just behind Chaos Knight on early game carry potential, and his rage is obviously completely absurd, giving him pretty much a BKB. 5-6 seconds of complete magic immunity, which is obviously extremely strong
5
against
seconds
Jakiro,
remaining.
Rubik, and Windrunner. So another good ban.
Reserve time.
I expect MIS will probably want to try and lock out that really, really strong mid, because they do have the first pick. So I expect them to ban out another mid hero and just try and pick up like a TA or maybe a Tinker, and to keep MAC from beating them in mid, because there aren't many good mid heroes left in the pool. And if MIS can pick their bans right and get a good mid hero away from the pool, they actually decide to ban out Naga. So they hate the carry potential and the lockdown that Naga can bring. And yeah, it looks like MIS want to try and take a big position by taking this very, very strong mid. I mean, Templar Assassin is a ridiculously strong mid hero, and she'll crush Rubik if they decide to put Rubik in mid. So we'll have to see what MAC decide. Maybe they'll even ban out the TA, you never know, but MAS have got to be looking towards a particularly strong mid hero at the moment. MSC actually decided to ban out Luna, so a lot of carries actually being banned out in the second ban phase, just trying to get rid of the ones that they don't like particularly well. I mean, Luna is obviously a very, very strong carry, and her ulti is exceptionally strong at the beginning of the game, and very, very, very strong against particularly weak heroes like Leshrac and Shadow Demon, where they can die very, very, very quickly.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
So as we move into the next picks, as we say, MIS definitely looking for that mid, and they're still looking for that strong carry for their extremely strong tri-lane potential that they actually have. So MAC obviously doing what they can do to get rid of the best carries, but Faceless Void still in the pool, so that's one for them to consider. Dragon Knight is still in the pool. They're actually going to go for Invoker in mid, so
Radiant
this gives
team
MAC an
pick.
opportunity to maybe counter that and pick up a TA, because TA is particularly good against Invoker, and it also locks Invoker into quads, because you kind of have to have that ridiculously strong cold snap on the Invoker, or TA will run over you pretty comfortably in mid. And I mean, TA, once she hits level 3 or 4, is going to walk over Invoker in mid anyway, so it's always a difficult
10 seconds
matchup for
remaining.
Invoker. So it'll be interesting to see if MSC decide to go on that
5
route, if they think
seconds
they're comfortable
remaining.
just playing another hero in mid, maybe playing the Rubik in mid now that there's an Invoker. Rubik is okay against Invoker, so they
Reserve
can try and
time.
go a different way and pick up another support hero for the Jakiro on that tri-lane. And maybe they'll even lock out Faceless Void just so that MIS cannot have that ridiculously strong carry potential. It'll be very, very interesting to see what they actually decide to do, and then it's going to be very interesting to see what MIS decide to do, what carry they want to pick up, and who they feel most comfortable with. Oh, so MAC are going for
Dire
Clinks.
team pick.
I've seen this a little bit quite often, maybe running the Clinks as the hard carry on the tri-lane, and it has worked quite often. It's worked pretty well. I mean, Searing Arrows is obviously ridiculously strong at the beginning of the game, and if you can get him as much farm as possible, that's really good. But he's also someone that benefits a lot from levels, so if they do decide to mix it up, they could always put the Windrunner in the mid, the Clinks on the off lane, and then run the
10
Chikiro, Rubik,
seconds
and
remaining.
Nameless carry on the safe lane if they
5
wanted to go that way
seconds
as well.
remaining.
So MIS moving on to their last pick, they're just going to think of maybe getting that carry
Reserve
now,
time.
because they do need someone very, very strong for the late game. They don't want to waste this Leshrac and Shadow Demon combo that they have.
Faceless Void.
And they are going to pick up the Faceless Void. Faceless Void,
Radiant
the
team pick.
the best carry was the best carry left in the pool, so a really, really good decision. They just wanted to go for what they know, go for the safe option,
Chaos
and MAC go for the Chaos Knight, who, as I mentioned earlier, is extremely strong in the early game. He's a very, very good early game hero, and I expect that Clinks will be on the offlane and maybe Windrunner will go mid with the Rubik. Or no, or the Windrunner might even be supporting. They might put the Rubik mid. It really does. It really does depend. Okay. Yeah, it looks like they're let's remake and get this server. Okay, we're just gonna get this server up. So, um, let me just quickly remake the lobby. Okay, I'll just flick it over to back onto this. Okay, so basically it seemed like MAC were getting a little bit of lag on MIS. We're getting a little bit of lag on the on that server, so we've just decided to flick it back on. We're going to choose a different server now, and then we're going to go straight back into it. So, um, it looks like we're going to be using the EU server. Makes sense. Okay, choose Austria. Austria's yeah. Okay, well let's ignore that. Basically, as we saw, we saw really strong early game. Um, we saw really strong early game coming out of MAC with the Chaos Knight last pick, and MIS were going for much stronger late game. They picked up that Faceless Void obviously, and he was a really good good combo with the Leshrac and Chikiro in that lane. Um, so okay, it seems like the okay. Yeah, we're just having a little bit of problems with the lag on the server. It's very bizarre what's actually happened. Just waiting for the last two people to rejoin up, and then we can go straight back into the game. The last two people have joined, and someone left. Okay, sure, we're gonna have to remake again because someone left as I click go. Bit of a nightmare. The lag on the server is okay. We will be back very soon, I promise. This is just taking a lot longer than I thought it would do. They're still trying to join the game, but yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see who actually takes the initiative at the beginning of this game, because I really think MAC have to try and just go for it. Especially at the beginning of this game, they have a much better team for the early game, disregarding the Leshrac and Shadow Demon combo, which is obviously extremely strong for the tri-lane for MIS. But if MAC can try and get a few early kills on that Chaos Knight, who does a lot of damage at the beginning of the game, then they can start to hopefully take over the game and okay, here we go. Okay, it actually looks like they've all just... I think they're having a little bit of problems actually in their internet cafe. They do play in an internet cafe, and that could be why they're having a little bit of lag. We will have to see, but I think it's fixed. I think it's all fixed. They've all rejoined the game now, and we are off. Finally, right. It's loading now. We are back in Dota. Everybody has joined the lobby, and everything is fine. We will see some action very soon as everyone picks.
Dire team ban. Radiant team.
Ah, come on.
Radiant.
Okay.
Dire team pick.
We're back. We're finally back. Hurrah!
Radiant team pick.
So just going to really quickly
Radiant
pick up
team pick.
who they'd already picked,
Windrunner at your service.
and then we can get back into the game. So,
Invoker.
Dire team.
for some reason, it wouldn't let me pick it wouldn't let me change the game mode to all pick, which is a bit weird. So we had to jump back into captain's mode. So they're just making random bans and choosing the exact same heroes. So.
Dire team.
So yeah, I'm really interested to see how MAC decide to lane this, because
Dire team ban.
I haven't I haven't really seen such a weird lane
Radiant
combination
team
before.
ban.
I mean, the Windrunner you would expect kind of has to either play heavy
Dire
support,
team ban.
getting that mech early, or maybe leaving the mech into to the Jakiro and just getting up a
Radiant
4
team
staff as early
ban.
as possible, or going onto that off lane. And but
Dire team
saying that, we also have a Clinks who's exceptionally strong on the off lane, so unless they run him as the main carry, but then that leaves Chaos Knight
Dire
completely on
team
his
ban.
own. So there are several ways that MAC could run this. They could run the Windrunner off lane, the Clinks off lane. They could run the Windrunner in mid, or the Rubik in mid. It really does depend. And MAC, I think they have pretty standard laning. They're going to run the Invoker in mid, the Darkseid on the off lane. Leshrac, Shadow Demon, and Faceless Void will, without a doubt, be on that tri-lane. So, and I think that that's also probably why they picked in this order, so that we could get a nice little view of exactly what their laning is going to be. Maybe that's what MAC did as well. Maybe we are going to have Jakiro, Windrunner, and Chaos Knight, Clinks off lane, and Rubik in mid. It's a distinct possibility. Okay, as we just wait for the last two players to pick up, and then I will run through the teams, and the game will begin. Okay, we've actually got to reconnect, so that's fine. Pings should be about over 9,000. Okay, I'm gonna quickly run through the teams. I'm gonna know who's taking up this Chaos Knight, so let's make a little run. We're going to see Chief on the Leshrac. We're going to see Darkseer going to be played by Misplace. We are going to see Guide, who will be playing the Invoker. Honolulu will be on the Shadow Demon, and I'm not going to pronounce that. I'm just going to say D. D will be playing the Chaos Knight, switching over to the Radiant. We're going to be seeing, oh my god, it's Byro, who will be on the Jakiro. Matato will be on Clinks. Lullaby will be on the Chaos Knight. We will see Rubik being played by Baby Stats, and Windrunner will be played by El Capitano. And of course, his Faceless Void actually missing from MIS's lineup. So as we just wait for the reconnect, this is taking quite a long time. I do apologise for the amount of time it's taken actually to sort this game out. This is actually not happened before. It's just been some problems with Dota bugs, Dota lag, blah blah blah. But has anybody bought the first items yet? No, it doesn't look like anybody's bought any of their items yet, so we are still just waiting. I would like to say thank you to everyone who is watching this live as we play. Obviously not exactly as we play, that would be cheating, but or it would leave scope for cheating at least. Um Okay, just waiting for the last guy. Apparently 30 seconds. He's just reconnecting now. And then we can begin. Okay, yeah, I'm still really interested to see how MAC decide to lane this. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually just decide to bung that Clinks on the off lane. Play the Windrunner as a sort of support for the Chaos Knight. and the Jakiro and run that Rubik in mid, because Rubik is pretty good against Invoker. He has a spell shield if he ever needs to get null field, if he ever needs to get any levels in that, just to make him a bit more survivable against Invoker. And he can have quite a nice time with the Fade Bolt Harass, so that wouldn't be the end of the world if they decided to do that. And he has reconnected. Excellent. Okay. Fantastic. As soon as he... Okay. I wish both teams good luck as we begin.
Thanks.
And now we finally get to see how MAC decide to lane this.
And more of you.
MIS is much more straightforward how they're going to lane it. Well, it seems it's much more straightforward, but you never know. They might mix things up, and it looks like Invoker's actually decided to go for Exort at level 1, so he's definitely going for that more carry-orientated build to try and maybe help that Faceless Void in late game. And going for those awesome Sunstrikes that we all love to see. So I'll be interested to see. It's pretty obvious this Darkseer is just going to be running down now. He's had a little bit of a swap around with Leshrac, and he is off now to his safe lane. So MAC just patrolling in the woods, trying to maybe catch a hero or two out. They've sent quite a large little force down there. We're actually going to be seeing Clink soloing the easy lane, so it looks like MAC have actually decided to go for the tri-lane on this hard lane with the Windrunner, the Leshrac, and the Chaos Knight, which isn't a bad idea. This Chaos Knight is obviously really strong, and Rubik will now place down a ward, so there's no pulling of this camp. So there's absolutely no way that it's going to be too disadvantageous for them being down here. And they've actually spotted Faceless Void in the water. They might decide to go for him, but no, he has the Leshrac and the Chaos Demon backup, but the Rubik actually sends up the Leshrac, and there's a little bit of a skirmish at the moment. Leshrac can pull off the split up, but it's not going to matter, and Lullaby draws first blood with the massive damage that he does right at the start. And a really nice little encounter by MAC off in the jungle, just catching a few of the heroes out. The split earth came, and it was a nice split earth. It hit the heroes that needed to hit, but it just didn't matter in the end. And first blood goes to Chaos Knight, which is going to be extremely important, seeing that he sat on this off lane against the Faceless Void, and he's already got a huge advantage in gold, and he will have a bit of an advantage in XP. They've actually decided to run the Windrunner in mid, so they're going to leave the Rubik up there as the Spore hero for his telekinesis, which is probably a pretty good choice. Because that disable is going to be so important against the Leshrac and Chaos Knight. The Leshrac and Shadow Demon combo, I apologise. And it's also going to be very good for the Chaos Knight, so... Baby Steps just sat in the trees, harassing down. There's a nice little spot to stand in the trees right here to, once you've eaten a tango, just to harass down. It can get you a few cheap shots. Okay, we're going to put up the last listen zones. We're going to see what's going on, and as you can see, the Chaos Knight already has a pretty substantial advantage over the Faceless Void, mainly just because of that extra gold and because of this ridiculously strong tri-lane they actually have on this lane. MIS can't really do much against it. The Void's getting as much farm as he can. He's doing pretty well. They've managed to get pull the lane back to the tower, but now that it's got pushed back out, I think that MAC can start controlling this lane a bit more, and we're going to see them just keep the lane about here, and this Chaos Knight is going to get as much farm as he wants in this early stage. And Clinks versus Darkseer on the off lane is also a very strange matchup you wouldn't see very often, but I have to give the advantage to Clinks because his Searing Arrows are going to be doing so much damage to this Darkseer. Darkseer doesn't have he has quite a bit of HP, but look at that damage. It just harasses him down so hard. And the problem that MIS have up on this lane is I don't think this Faceless Void can afford to trade too many blows with Chaos Knight because of his ridiculous early game damage. The problem MIS now have on this lane is that they have this ridiculously strong combo, but if MAC play it right and just hold back, they have the triple disable to try and shut it down if it actually manages to come down. So it's going to be a difficult thing for MIS to pull off. And actually we see it go the other way, and a nice little bit of play, there by Shadow Demon actually using the his disruption on Leshrac to try and get the kill. DelotA is in a little bit of trouble. He doesn't have a lot of HP left. He has to back out. Then again, Leshrac doesn't have a lot of HP left either. They actually end up picking him up with that Fade Bolt. Sunstrike comes in, misses the Chaos Knight. Yeah, really nice dodge actually by the Chaos Knight. And the Telekinesis just keeps the other two at bay. But another really nice little bit of play by MIC. They decided to engage. They just went straight for it. And even though the Shadow Demon played that really nicely, managing to dodge the Ice Path from the Jakiro, it still just wasn't quite enough. If we go back down to this bottom lane, we can see the Clinks is having a really nice time, actually sitting at 18-1. He's the most farmed person in the game at the moment. Just behind him is El Capitano at bottom. In mid, sorry, and he against this Invoker. And this isn't going particularly as you would expect it, really. You would expect that Invoker could have quite a nice time up against Windrunner, but if she hits 1 or 2 power shots, then this Invoker's going to be slightly on the back foot. And as you've seen, he's had to put a few points in quads just because of the harass that this Windrunner's actually managing to do to him. So that's interesting to know. And now Windrunner becomes the most farmed in the game, which is fantastic. Right, as we see from the top lane, the levels are about the same. There's not much of a level change, apart from this Leshrac still sitting down at level 2. But not being able to stack and pull is really hurting MIS at this early stage. I really feel they need to probably get a sentry ward up on this off lane, just unblock this camp and start stacking and pulling just to pull this lane back, because it's really not working for them at the moment. And they've actually decided to go straight onto Honolulu. Really nice Ice Path. Split Earth manages to miss. Disruption comes up on himself to try and save him. DelotA is taking a lot of damage. He's going to have to back out or he's going to fall. It looks like he is actually going to die. They managed to pick up the Shadow Demon, but it's at the exchange with the it's at an exchange for the Chaos Knight, which isn't a good deal. Which isn't a good deal at all. So really nicely played by MIS just to get that around. The Chaos Knight was taking a lot of damage in there, and they managed to limit what could have been a very bad situation. They actually managed to turn it into quite a good situation. But the Leshrac has been caught out massively. Wasn't expecting the Chaos Knight back so soon, and he's going to die pretty easily. The other two in MIS are having to back off pretty heavily before they get caught as well. Although Faceless Void is really going for these last hits. He needs every single one of them, and he's willing to go a little bit harder for them than maybe he should be going at this early stage. The pings have come out, so they've noted that the camp has now actually been stacked. So I think they're gonna go back over and they might actually catch Honolulu. Neither of them have mana. That's a little bit of a shame. They could have caught Honolulu out there. He played it right though to use disruption on the Jakiro, because the Rubik had no mana. He didn't have anything to cast. So really nice play by Honolulu to keep himself alive. So now we actually see this Faceless Void getting a little bit of farm. He's actually sitting on a 32-2, which is really respectable, especially against such a strong tri lane. He's only just behind the Windrunner in mid, and only just behind the Clinks on the off lane. The Leshrac Split Earth does come out, but Baby Steps knew it was coming and just managed to walk away from it and dodge it. The pings are coming out on the Faceless Void. It looks like they might actually just want to go for him. Out comes the Split Earth. The Split Earth actually misses, and now they might go for the dive. Baby Steps comes out. He uses Telekinesis, gets a 3-man stun, but nothing's going to come from there. And the Ice Path wasn't quite up, and Chaos Knight was not diving a tower to try and get a kill or two. So looking at farm, we see Invoker's already got up his phase boots, so He's not doing too badly. He's sitting at 22 and 10, so he's got a lot of denies under his belt, much more than the Windrunner, who is just looks like going straight for this 4-staff. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see. I'll put up the net worth and see what we're looking at. We are looking at Clinks getting quite a little bit ahead of everybody else, and actually now just going straight for Misplace, who's completely out of mana. This might actually do the trick. Is it going to be enough? It is going to be enough, and Clinks actually just picks up the kill, and that's going to help him a lot. His net worth has actually jumped up to 3,400 now, so he's actually gotten
Radiant's
slightly
middle
further
tower
away
is
than this
under
Faceless
attack.
Void, who's just sat around not really doing anything. He can't even leave to get any farm. But he is doing better than the Chaos Knight, which is surprising because the Chaos Knight has got a kill and 3 assists. But the death does mean quite a bit to this Chaos Knight, and obviously the Faceless Void hasn't quite died yet. And it looks like we might actually have a skirmish in the trees, because Invoker's come down and they've actually found them. El Capitano did teleport up, and they're going to turn it around and take out this Void straight away. And the Leshrac, the Chaos Knight, is doing a ridiculous amount of damage. They're now going straight onto the Shadow Demon. It doesn't look like Shadow Demon's going to survive for much longer. It looks like Lullaby's just going to do the last amount of damage. The pings come out on Invoker, who actually manages to just get the kill on the back of that on the Jakiro, and then just walk away, and there's no way they're going to be able to catch him. That was another really nice little engagement by MSC. But again, MIS just managed to turn it around and get a little bit from it, and that's really keeping them in the game at this stage. They need to try and keep that up, although the Faceless Void death has meant a lot, and the Chaos Knight and Windrunner are now very slightly ahead of this this Faceless Void on net worth, and this Clinks is obviously doing an amazing job at bottom lane, just getting all the farm he needs. This Void's being extremely aggressive on this bottom lane. I don't think he sees them all coming in for him. The Ice Path comes up. They have the Telekinesis. There's the Telekinesis and the stun Chaos Bolt. Here comes the Leshrac there to try and turn it around, and the Void ulti actually manages to catch 2. Lullaby might have been in trouble, but he actually decides to just back off and get away as fast as he can. But he's left Lullaby a little bit caught, but nothing actually comes of it in the end, and both teams just back out. But a nice ult by Faceless Void to keep him alive. He actually managed to just pull it off. A little bit of stack stun coming out from MAC, maybe a little bit of miscommunication. The Chaos Bolt came out as the Telekinesis has already been hit, so that may have cost them the kill, but it's not a big problem. But now we actually see all 3 of them coming around the back. They want to go for it. Shadow Demon pops up the Disruption to try and give away that they're going for it. The Leshrac comes down the side. Really nice play. They managed to pick off the Chaos Knight immediately, which is a big source of damage. And now it looks like they're going to easily pick off this Jakiro. The Invoker just gets the last hit, and now Rubik having to try and back off. Sunstrike's going to land directly on his head, and he manages to get the double kill with the Sunstrike. Really nice play by Guide, getting that double kill. And MIS are looking right back into this game now. Really nice play by them. And now this Faceless Void is starting to get a little bit more farm, but they still have to worry about this Clinks, who has almost nearly got his Orchid. He's looking at 2 Oblivion Stars after 10 minutes, which is a pretty phenomenal amount of farm. And he's just going to keep that up, and hopefully, well, in a minute or 2, he's going to have his Orchid, and that's going to be a big problem for MAC, because he's going to start roaming around. He's going to start getting a lot of kills, especially on this Invoker and this Leshrac or Shadow Demon. Just when they get slightly caught out of position, not expecting the Clinks, he's just going to pop out with the Orchid, and that's going to be a very easy kill for him. And he's going to start snowballing pretty hard unless they do something about this. So we see the Chronosphere almost back up on the Void. So he looks like he's going to be hanging around, just waiting for that. Trying maybe farming some neutrals if he really wants to. And now that this stack is available for them to pull, to stack and then pull, they've got quite a big advantage from this. But they looks like they're just going straight for them in the jungle. Actually, the Ice Path might be coming out any second to try and catch out the Shadow Demon. Disruption comes up on top. They've all actually left to Jakiro just to die as they back off and try and kill Mischief on the back. It doesn't look like they're gonna. It looks like Lullaby now has to back off because this Invoker is doing a ridiculous amount of damage. And they're all just running away, but the Void has the Chronosphere, and there it is. It actually manages to catch them both. That's really nice play. And the Invoker's going to pick up another double kill. The really nice Sunstrike and just auto-attacking while the Chronosphere was up. Really nice play again by MIS, and they've actually taken a very slight lead in this game now. And the net worth on this Invoker has all of a sudden just exploded after a few double kills coming from the mid. And this Windrunner just hasn't been able to get into the game as much as this
Radiant's
Invoker
top
has.
tower
He's
is under attack.
5-0-3 at the moment, and that
Radiant
is
structures
ridiculously
are
good
Dire's
for
bottom tower has fallen.
the amount of time that we've been playing. But again, you can see this Clinks is going to be a big problem. Now he has his Orchid, he can start roaming and he can start doing whatever he needs to do to get these kills. And now Place has got to be pretty careful, because if he sets slightly out of position, this Clinks can silence him and maybe get a strafe off. He's just going to be dead before anything can happen. So looking back at this tri-lane, we do see this Chaos Knight lagging a little bit behind on farm. He needs to try and get a little bit more. He needs to get his armlet up as soon as possible, because he's having a lot of problems. He's dying extremely early in the team fights. He doesn't have a ridiculous amount of strength. It looks like they might actually catch Faceless Void. Faceless Void wasn't expecting them all just to dive into the jungle, and the nice little reality rift, and then the Chaos Bolt's going to catch him. The Ice Path directly on top, and here comes the telekinesis, and there's no way that he's going to get away from this. Surely they actually managed to put up the Void Chronosphere from the Rubik, who stole it, but all it does is catch Lullaby in it. And Windrunner comes down from mid, gets the double kill. Really nice play on the back of that, and now they're chasing down the Invoker. It doesn't look like they're going to get him misplaced. Teleports up to top just to try and keep him alive, and the rest of MAC just back off. That's really nice engagement by MAC. They did exactly what they needed to do, and now it looks like they might be going back to this Void again.
Dire's structures are fortified. Radiant's middle tower is
I've just had a request for
Dire's bottom tower
to explain what the Orchid actually does. The Orchid, when it is used on a hero, it silences them for 5 seconds, and all damage that they take is amplified by 30% in that time. So it is a ridiculously strong ganking tool, especially for Clinks, because it also gives him mana regeneration, so he can keep up his searing arrows, shot after shot. But if he catches a hero, maybe like Leshrac or Invoker slightly off, and he manages to silence them with the Orchid, they're going to be taking 30% extra damage off of each hit he does, and he's already doing a ridiculous amount of damage. So with no sort of escape mechanisms, they're going to die ridiculously fast. We now see Void actually being extremely aggressively farming in this jungle. With it looks like almost the entire team from MIC directly above him. Are they actually going to catch him? He does have his Cure if he needs to get away, but really nice play by MIC to try and lock him down. Are they going to get the stun off? It doesn't look like they are. It's really nice escape, but now the rest of MIS come in, and the Darkseer's right in the middle of it. The Shadow Demon actually manages to catch out the Jakiro before he can use his Ice Path, but he manages to pop it off anyway. But it looks like he's going to drop pretty safely. But Lullaby on the back of it is doing a lot of damage. Manages to kill the Leshrac, and Baby Steps just sends one Fade Bolt directly into the face of Faceless Void and kills him. But this Invoker's going to be picking up another kill. Actually, the Shadow Demon manages to get it in the end. Picks up the kill, and the Invoker with the Sunstrike gets the double kill again. These Sunstrike have been supreme. But now we see this Orchid come into play for Clinks. Look at the amount of damage he's doing to this Invoker. It looks like Invoker would have got popped. A really nice play by the Shadow Demon, using the disruption to get him away from it. And this Darkseer is going to kill the Clinks with the Ion Shell. Really nice play, popping the dust when they knew he was there, after the Shadow Demon trapped purged the Invoker of the Orchid silence. And that was the turnaround that MIS needed, because it looked like they got caught out pretty heavily at the start of that, but some really nice coordination managed to pull them back into it. They didn't even need the Void Chrono for that entire fight, so it's looking really good for MIS now as we start to move into this mid game. They haven't died as much as MAC were probably hoping, and MAC haven't taken the lead that they were probably hoping, especially seeing that they had this ridiculously strong early game team with the Chaos Knight. But they still do have a very farmed Clinks, so we'll have to see how they can use that to their advantage. They're definitely going to have to start using him pretty soon to get a few sneak kills, and then maybe having him just snowball out of control, because that is what Clinks can do. He can get ridiculously farmed. It looks like he might actually catch Mischief completely out. There's the Orchid Silence, and look at the amount of burn damage that is doing to him, and he just instantly drops. Jakiro manages to get the kill, but but he dies so ridiculously fast. The ganking potential by this team now is ridiculously strong with this Clinks, and that's what they need to start doing. They need to start finding those little freak kills here and there, picking off heroes where they probably shouldn't be, and then this Clinks can start to get a little bit more farm, as well as the Chaos Knight, and they can start to really dominate this mid game. As you can see, the Void is just free farming in the jungle at the moment. He doesn't even want to protect these towers. As Chikiro actually manages to spot up the Shadow Demon. That maybe have been a little bit of a mistake, but the rest of the team didn't really react in time, and they actually managed to get a really nice shackle shot by Windrunner, though. Actually manages to catch two, and the Silence comes straight onto the Darkseer. They managed to pick off the Leshrac before he can do anything, and then they move directly onto the Shadow Demon and take him out. And now Misplace looks like he's going to fall as well. A triple kill goes to Lullaby. The amount of damage he was doing in that fight was ridiculous. He's not even got his armlet up, and he manages to pick up the triple kill. Maybe that was really nice play by MSC, actually leaving the kills for him, but that is exactly what they needed to do at this stage. And while Faceless Void just free farms this lane, they're going to be taking a tower and a triple kill for the Chaos Knight, and that's not a particularly good swap.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
We can see the Faceless Void. It looks like he's going for a Battle Fury. He's already got his Perseverance, so that looks like the big stage. But MAC are just going straight for the mid racks. They don't even care about this Faceless Void or the ganking potential. They've actually caught Honolulu pretty crazily out of position. They managed to get away from it. Faceless Void teleports straight in, and a really nice chrono catches too. Split Earth wasn't quite up, and that is a big shame because that could have done a lot of damage. And the Darkseer now decides to try and run himself into the middle of them, but he might get caught out a little bit because none of them are backed off, and the Rubik actually got the Void chrono, and he used it to supreme effect and actually managed to catch all 5 of the enemy team. And the Windrunner picks off a really nice shackle shot, hitting 2, and the triple kill this time goes to the Clinks. And it looks like MAC might even be taking a mid tower at this very early stage. Exceptionally good play by them, especially the Rubik to steal the Void Chronosphere on the back of that. I think he actually got caught in it, and they didn't take him down quite fast enough. And that was really nice play by Baby Steps to actually manage to take that one. And the Windrunner power shots, as we have seen all game, have actually been straight on the money, hitting 2 or 3 heroes every time, picking off kills here and there, and it looks like they're going to be picking up a Rax pretty easily. Mischief has actually gone in, managed to stun 2, so they might actually be able to force them away. They actually managed to get the Rax. They do have the mech up now, so on this Windrunner, so it doesn't make that much of a difference. And a really nice shackle shot, allowing everybody time just to back off and save themselves after the Rax has been taken. A really nice early Rax from MIC, and we were seeing the early game potential coming out from them. As I said at the beginning of the game, they really needed to take an early lead in this game, or they were going to get out carried so ridiculously fast. But now the Clinks has a double damage. He's looking to probably take out Misplace on this lane, try and catch him out of position. This is going to hurt if Misplace gets slightly out of position. It looks like he actually has the Orchid. The Orchid's going to get popped any second. There it is, and the Clinks is going to easily take him down. The amount of damage he was doing is ridiculous. He didn't even need the burn from the Orchid in the end of it, and that double damage is going to be doing so much for this Clinks in this fight. And it looks like MAC are just going straight for another tower. They have such a ridiculous early game advantage now that they're just destroying heroes that get even remotely out of position. This Rubik is playing really well on the front lines, and there's not really much MIS can do about it at the moment. They just need to wait for their Faceless Void to get enough farm, but he just can't get enough farm. He's going for the Battle Fury, but it's just not coming fast enough. And they're actually looking straight for a second Rax, while the Faceless Void is all the way over here on his own. He doesn't even have a TP scroll, so this could be a massive mistake by MIS, while MAC just beat down on this bottom tower. They've actually managed to take it, and they're just going to back off straight after that. The Rubik is actually hiding in their jungle. I don't know how he managed to get there, but they know. I think they've actually spotted him. I think they know he's there. I think they might be trying to go and get him. No, maybe not. Maybe they don't know he's there. I have no idea how he expects to get out of that one. I have no idea how he actually got into there, but again, really nice play by MIC, using their early advantage to take yet another tower, and they're really pushing MIS back into the base, and this Void can't really afford to get much free farm because he's going to be called back every few seconds to aid his team. He's probably going to be looking to pick up his Battle Fury in the next minute or two. But El Capitano is just hanging around on this high ground, checking out, scouting. He knows exactly what's going on. He knows there's 4 of them there, and MAC decide to back off, which is very, very wise. They don't have their Chaos Knight or the Clinks with them. They're 2 massive damage dealers at this stage. So it's probably a good idea just to leave that one alone. They can't engage now. They don't want to give away anything to MIS because they're so far ahead. They just want to play it safe, get as much farm as they can now in their massive space. They have complete map control, and we see the Chaos Knight has his BKB. Oh no, he doesn't have his BKB. That's a drum recipe, so he's just re-getting his drum charges, and he almost has his BKB. While this Clinks just wails on yet another tower. They dive in to try and get him, but the Clinks shadow walks and just backs off before anything can actually come of it. But this is the problem with the Clinks on your team. This Clinks is so good at split pushing. He can push a lane in a few seconds with the amount of damage he does to creeps. So it's always going to be a worry for MIS to try and keep 2 of their lanes at least preserved at all times, especially now that the mega creeps are in mid. This Clinks is going to be a big problem for them all game. And the problem is there's no one that can really counter him one-on-one in lane. If they send one person to try and get it to try and counter the pushes, he's just going to dive the tower and pick them off because he has such a supreme amount of damage. And now that he has the Black King bar, he's going to be pretty safe from anything they can really throw his way.
Haste.
This is pretty interesting now. It looks like MIS actually have seen the threat that MAC are playing. It looks like they all gathered around Roche for a second, but MIS decided it probably wasn't safe, and they're actually just going to go straight up top for the Clinks. It doesn't look like the Clinks knows they're coming. There's the Faceless Void ultimate, but I don't think it's going to actually be enough. Motate's got so much HP regen. I don't think they're going to bring him down. Oh, they actually do bring him down in the end. Really nice dust popped by Honolulu, managing to pick that one up, but he just buys straight back into the game. He has so much money. He has 11k net worth. He can do whatever he wants at this stage. He's level 15, which is higher than pretty much anyone, well, which is higher than anyone else in the game. Invoker is just behind him whilst this Roche temp goes on. So the Clinks was mainly just really a distraction. As soon as they all went for the Clinks, they immediately went for the Roshan. They're going to pick it off pretty easily. And Lullaby actually picks that up, so that's going to be absolutely huge for MAC. Now that they have this this Chaos Knight with the Aegis, they can really push onto this bottom racks and get some and maybe get another Rax. We'll have to see what they decide to do with it. Maybe they'll play it safe and just farm for now, and only use the Aegis when they absolutely have to. Because again, they really don't want to. They can't afford to give MIS anything or any way back into this game. So they're just going to lock them out and constrict their space as much as possible. Get this Chaos Knight ridiculously farmed compared to the Faceless Void. I mean, Faceless Void has Battle Fury up now, but that after 25 minutes you're expecting a lot more from Faceless Void. He's not going to be able to do much with just a Battle Fury. And you compare that to the Clinks, who has Orchid, BKB, Treads, 1.5k, and has bought back as well. And the disparity in farm is just absolutely incredible. Looks like we're actually going to go for another pause while Honolulu reconnects, because it looks like he... Oh, okay. I'm having a toilet break. Fantastic. Right. This gives us a little bit of time to look over items and what the heroes have decided to do. So this Windrunner's gone for the basic Windrunner build that you will see in many pro games. It's gone for the 4-star from the mechanism with the phase boots. The Claymore maybe a little bit of an odd choice. Obviously just having a bit of fun now, maybe going for a Shadow Blade or something, just to give her a bit of survivability. This Clinks has obviously gone for the obvious Clinks damage items, although he's obviously fearing a lot of lockdown because he got that BKB before he decided to get the Monkey King bar against this Faceless Void, which will probably be his next item because that Faceless Void's backtrack is exceptionally annoying, and being able to dodge that is really useful. Don't unpause yet, guys. baby steps still. Okay, we look over to the Jakiro. He obviously didn't need to get the mechanism because the Windrunner actually got the mechanism. So he's picked up just a Force Staff and Arcane Boots. Obviously, Force Staff is a ridiculously strong support item, and that's why they have 2 of them on this team. You can never have enough Force Staffs. Well, you probably can, but 2 Force Staffs is never enough. So that's it's nice to see that the support heroes are getting the sort of items they need. I mean, the Arcane Boots coming up on the Rubik and the Jakiro, so that solves all of their mana problems. And the Sentry Wards are still being bought on this Rubik, so he still knows he needs to de-ward and keep it all safe. Okay, we're off. Oh, wait a second. Okay, that went a little bit nutso. Faceless Voids actually dived directly onto El Capitan. A nice little Orchid popped by the Clinks. Tries to get him away from it. He's going to try and use the Shadow Walk to catch up. He's not going to be able to. Mist is going to quite easily take out El Capitano while that's going on. Darkseer actually managed to get the kill with the Iron Shell. Clinks just backs off of that one. Darkseer's still actually chasing. He could have been caught out a little bit there, but the MAC decided not to. They didn't know where the rest of the team was. Really nice little play by MIS, catching them slightly out of position and managing to pick up a kill. Nearly getting the Clinks as well, but Shadow Walk is so ridiculously strong if you don't have a Skeleton Walk, so it's so ridiculously strong if you don't have a Dust Up. Which I don't think they do, because the Shadow Demon popped one pretty soon. Not too long ago, when they killed him the last time. So this Faceless Void now getting a little bit more farm actually. He's getting the sort of farm that we would expect off a Faceless Void, and he's sitting at 1k now once he has his Battle Fury. So it'll be interesting to see what he decides to go for next. But it's more than likely going to be just a straight damage item, maybe a Maelstrom, a Yasha going into maybe a Manta style or something of that choice. While this Clinks just farms at the jungle, sitting on more and more gold each second. Obviously saving up for something pretty big. It looks like he should probably be going for a Monkey King bar to counter this Faceless Void's backtrack, because 1 or 2 misses and it can really make a massive difference. This Jakiro is going to get caught out because they actually have 2 Sentry Wards up. It's a real shame that the Split Earth managed to miss. Jakiro did some nice little juking actually to get away from it, because he would have been caught out pretty heavily. But now they know that the Sentry Ward's up. It looks like they don't even care. They're just going to dive directly into the base. The Chronosphere isn't quite up. It has 8 seconds. The Shadow Demon will try and buy them a little bit of time. Bit of miscommunication. Honolulu's going to drop pretty easily to Lullaby. Lullaby pops his ultimate now. It looks like Faceless Void does have the ultimate up. The Clinks has used his Orchid, so he can't use it on him if he wants to. They're going to get caught out so ridiculously heavily, especially against this Chaos Knight who's just sat in the middle of them with his armlet turned on, doing a ridiculous amount of damage. And this Faceless Void now pops the ultimate and catches 5. This could be an amazing turnaround actually. It looks like the Leshrac on the back of it is going to be popping his ulti. But look at the damage that Chaos Knight and Clinks are doing, even with the backtrack. He can't get enough down. And Rubik steals the ultimate again and catches Mischief. And he's going to drop so fast to the Clinks, it's untrue. Now they're going to catch Invoker on the back of it, and Invoker's going to die. He still has the Aegis, remember. So even if he dies, it's not going to make a difference. Lullaby's sitting on like no HP. The Shadow Demon does pick him out, but the Aegis just gets popped. He's going to be coming back immediately and probably looking for another kill on the Shadow Demon actually. There goes the stun. He hasn't popped his armlet. Now he has, and he just one-shots him with 3rd HP. And there are the good game well plays coming out from MIS and MAC, and it looks like MAC will be taking this first round match. Really well played by them. And I got a shout out, which is fantastic.
Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's middle tower.
It doesn't look like MAC have time for another one, which is a massive shame, because I've really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed this game. And MAC knew exactly what they had to do, and they did it really well. They dominated the early game, which was so important, because this Chaos Knight is so strong at the beginning of the game. They actually finally managed to bring him down for once. But I think on the back of that, you have to say the Clinks and the Chaos Knight was so strong against MIS. The early game they had, it was absolutely ridiculous, especially this Clinks. We've seen Clinks are picked a few times in this tournament, and I just don't think any team is properly prepared to counter him. He actually was going for the Monkey King bar, but didn't manage to quite get it by the end of that game. No one's really worked out how to counter this Clinks yet, because Clinks